Shaun, what do you make of these comments from the NSO? Don't blame us, blame the customers.
Well, but they say they vet the customers, and they say that they don't allow the customers to use their software against people who aren't, terrorists or international organised criminal figures. So, they can't have it both ways, can they?
Yeah, so we know who the intended targets were, but who, in your opinion, is behind the hacks and why? Why would someone be using this software?
Well, it's used by governments, to surveil the activities of people they regard as a threat. And that means, dissidents, it means activists, it means journalists in some countries, like Kazakhstan, in countries like, Mexico, so, and countries like the United Arab Emirates, all of which are or have been customers of NSO. But it's also very useful for the Israelis. They use this sort of spyware as a kind of diplomatic tool, the reporting suggests, so that they, it's a sort of bonus prize that you get if you're friends with Israel. You get to use this, super hacking technology to surveil enemies of the state, dissidents, and people like that.
50,000 journalists, government officials and human rights activists. I mean, this is on a massive scale, isn't it? Were you surprised by it?
Well, I think we have to be a little bit careful about this 50,000 number, because that list of phone numbers that the media consortium has, I mean, even the people that provided it to them aren't quite sure or haven't said quite exactly, what it represents. Are these all people who were targeted? Are these all people who were potentially targeted? We don't know what the significance of the 50,000 numbers on that list is. What we do know is that hundreds of people on that list, and hundreds of people we already knew about, because you can, although this malware is extremely smart and hard to detect, you can, especially on Apple phones, you can find evidence of its presence afterwards. So we know that hundreds of people have been spied on using this sophisticated software. And one thing I would point out that's happened just in the last day or so is that the Israelis have opened an inquiry. We're not sure what the value of that is yet. They're being very untransparent about it. It's not clear. They say it's the defence establishment, so that means the Ministry of Defence, probably the intelligence agencies, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, maybe. But they're doing this inquiry to look at the process that NSO supposedly uses to vet its customers. And there's also, you've got to remember, there's a lot of people in Israel that are not happy with this kind of behaviour by their companies or their government. So there's some questions in Parliament now. People are talking about looking at the export regulations, and I mean, really, that's what's got to happen. I mean, you're not going to have an international regime. Unfortunately, it seems to me it's not practical to expect an international regime from the UN or something to regulate this trade. The nations have to do it, and obviously Israel, along with the United States, has the capabilities. They have these firms that make this spyware, and they've got to stop exporting it to places that are going to use it, to abuse the human rights of their own citizens.
Shaun Waterman, thanks so much for your comments. Appreciate it.